Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive. We love to keep you updated on all the exciting things happening in space. And, well, this time we're diving into a recent NASA spacewalk.
Definitely exciting stuff.
It is. Our source is an article straight from NASA's website from January 17th.
Oh, very recent.
Yeah, it's called NASA Kicks Off 2025 with Spacewalk to Fix X-ray Telescope and Upgrade ISS.
Catchy title.
It is. I mean, who doesn't love a good spacewalk story, right? Especially when it involved telescopes and upgrading our home away from home up in orbit.
This wasn't just any spacewalk. This one was pretty special.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more.
Well, it involved astronauts Suni Williams and Nick Hague.
Seasoned veterans?
Exactly. So for Hague, this was his fourth spacewalk.
Impressive.
It is. But get this, for Williams, it was her eighth.
Eighth? That's got to be some kind of record.
You're absolutely right. It is. She's one of the most experienced spacewalkers in history.
Wow, what an accomplishment.
Seriously. It's a high-pressure job. Think about it. Stepping out of the International Space Station, hundreds of miles above Earth, with only your suit and a tether keeping you safe.
Yeah, no thanks. I think I'll stay grounded.
I hear you. But that's what makes astronauts so incredible. They're a different breed.
So what were they doing out there for 6 hours? What was on the agenda for this spacewalk?
Well, they had a long to-do list. One critical task was replacing a rate gyro assembly.
And those are important because, forgive me, I'm not an astronaut.
No worries. Basically, these gyros help keep the station stable and properly oriented. Without them, it could spin out of control.
Ah, so they were preventing the ISS from turning into a giant spinning carnival ride.
Pretty much. But they weren't just doing routine maintenance. They also repaired the NICER X-ray telescope.
NICER. Now, that's a cool name, and I remember reading about that telescope. It studies some pretty fascinating objects, right?
It does. NICER is designed to study neutron stars.
Neutron stars. Those are the super dense remnants of collapsed stars, right?
That's right. They're so dense that a teaspoonful of neutron star material would weigh billions of tons here on Earth.
Billions of tons at a teaspoon. Mind-blowing.
Right. And NICER helps us unlock the mysteries of those extreme objects, which could lead to all sorts of breakthroughs.
Like what? Give me some examples.
Well, think about things like new energy sources or advanced materials. Imagine harnessing the power of a collapsed star.
That's some serious next-level science.
It is. And they did even more. They also installed a new reflector device on one of the station's international docking adapters.
Okay, so that sounds kind of technical. What's the significance of that?
It's all about preparing for the future. By installing this new reflector, they're ensuring that the ISS can easily connect with different spacecraft in the years to come.
Ah, so they're future-proofing the ISS.
Yeah.
Making it adaptable for whatever missions come next.
Precisely. And speaking of future missions, they also prepped for upcoming maintenance on the alpha magnetic spectrometer.
Another piece of impressive equipment, I'm guessing.
You bet. It's helping us unravel the mysteries of the universe, and they need to keep it in tip-top shape.
Of course. So much going on up there. I was looking at some of the images from the article, and I love the one showing Williams working near the docked SpaceX Dragon spacecraft while replacing a reflector.
It's a powerful image. It really showcases the amazing teamwork and collaboration happening on the ISS.
It does. Different countries, different companies, all working together for a common goal.
Exactly. And that brings up an important question. We've talked about all these tasks, but what does it all mean for us back on Earth? Why should we care about what's happening on the ISS?
That's a great question, and one I think deserves more attention.
I agree. It's easy to think of the ISS as this distant outpost, but the work they're doing has a real impact on our lives.
So after a quick break, let's delve into that. Let's explore why the ISS matters to everyone back here on Earth. We were just talking about how what happens up on the ISS affects us all down here on Earth.
Yeah, it's easy to think of it as, way up there and we're down here, but it's all connected.
But how? Give me a concrete example. How does something like fixing a telescope or installing a reflector benefit us Earthlings?
Well, okay, take the NICER telescope, for example. Studying neutron stars isn't just about unlocking secrets about the universe.
There's got to be more to it than that, right?
Right. We're also gaining insights into things like extreme states of matter and gravity stuff that could revolutionize things here on Earth.
Like what kind of revolution are we talking about?
Well, imagine new energy sources or incredibly strong materials, even harnessing the power of a neutron star for clean energy.
Whoa, now that's some serious future tech.
It is. And then there's the alpha magnetic spectrometer that's helping us understand cosmic rays.
Cosmic rays, those are the high-energy particles that bombard Earth from space, right? I think I read somewhere that they can mess with electronics and even our DNA.
You're exactly right. By studying them, we learn how to protect ourselves and maybe even use their energy for new technologies.
So the ISS is like a giant space lab where they're figuring out how to improve life down here.
That's a great way to put it. It's all about pushing the boundaries of science and tech for the benefit of everyone.
It's pretty incredible when you think about it. These astronauts are like pioneers, venturing into the unknown and bringing back knowledge that benefits all of us.
And speaking of pioneers, I was reading about some of the challenges astronauts face during spacewalks. It's not a walk in the park out there.
Yeah, I bet.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of challenges are we talking?
I mean, they're dealing with extreme temperatures, radiation, the vacuum of space, and they have to do it all while wearing those bulky spacesuits.
It sounds incredibly dangerous. One wrong move and well.
It is dangerous. There's no room for error, which is why astronauts go through such intense training years of preparation, both physically and mentally.
Makes sense. They have to be the best of the best.
They do. They need to think clearly under pressure, solve problems quickly, and work seamlessly as a team. It's not a job for everyone.
Definitely not. I can't even imagine the level of focus and discipline it takes to do a spacewalk. It's like brain surgery, but in space.
That's a good analogy. And then there's the psychological aspect. Being up there for months, isolated in a confined space, far from family and everything familiar.
That would mess with anyone's head.
It does. It takes a special kind of person to handle that kind of isolation and stress.
It makes you realize that astronauts are more than just scientists and engineers. They're explorers, adventurers, and I'd even say artists in their own right.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about the inspiration they must get from seeing Earth from space.
It's got to be life-changing.
It is. Astronauts often talk about how it shifts their whole perspective. They see Earth not as divided by borders, but as this single, fragile, interconnected system.
Wow, it puts things into perspective. Makes you realize how small our problems seem in the grand scheme of things.
It does. And speaking of perspective, we've talked about the science, the personal journeys, but there's another key aspect of the ISS. Its role as a symbol of international cooperation.
Right. Is this amazing collaboration between different countries all working together towards a common goal.
Exactly. It's proof that we can achieve incredible things when we put aside our differences and work together. It's a beacon of hope in a world that often feels divided.
Yeah, that message of unity and collaboration is more important now than ever. So the ISS is this scientific marvel, a symbol of human ingenuity and a testament to international cooperation. But what about its future? It's been up there for over 2 decades. How much longer can it keep going?
That's a big question. NASA and its partners are figuring that out right now. There's talk of extending its life, maybe through commercial partnerships.
Interesting.
But even if the ISS eventually has to be retired, its legacy will live on. It's inspired generations and will continue to do so.
Absolutely. So looking back, what do you think has been the ISS's biggest contribution so far?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
What?
There have been so many incredible achievements, scientific discoveries, tech advancements, and just the sheer audacity of building and maintaining a human presence in space.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing.
It is. But if I had to pick one thing, I think it's the inspiration it provides. The ISS is a symbol of human potential, a reminder that we can achieve anything we set our minds to when we work together.
I love that. It reminds me of Neil Armstrong's famous quote, "One small step for mankind, one giant leap for mankind. The ISS is another giant leap for humanity, a testament to our courage, our ingenuity, and our drive to explore the unknown."
Well said. And with that in mind, maybe we can shift gears a bit and talk about the future of space exploration beyond the ISS.
Yeah, let's dive into that. What's next on humanity's to-do list out there in the cosmos?
Well, one of the most exciting things on the horizon is a crewed mission to Mars.
Mars. Now, that's something I've always dreamed of.
It's been a dream for so long, and now it's starting to feel within reach.
I remember watching those old sci-fi movies as a kid and thinking it was pure fantasy.
Yeah, but we've come a long way, and the ISS has been a crucial stepping stone in getting us closer to that goal.
How so? How has the ISS helped pave the way for a Mars mission?
Think about it. It's been a testing ground for all sorts of essential technologies. Like life support systems, for instance. Keeping astronauts alive and healthy on a trip to Mars and back is a huge challenge, and the ISS has allowed us to test and refine those systems in a real space environment.
Ah, so it's like a dress rehearsal for Mars.
Exactly. We can't perfectly simulate a Mars mission here on Earth, so the ISS has been invaluable for that.
And what about the psychological aspect of such a long journey?
That's another area where the ISS has provided crucial insights. Spending months or even years cooped up in a spacecraft far from Earth is going to be incredibly demanding on the crew, both physically and mentally.
No kidding.
The ISS has given us a glimpse into the psychological effects of long-duration spaceflight and how to deal with them.
So it's not just about rockets and tech, it's about understanding the human factor, too.
Precisely. A Mars mission will be as much a test of human resilience and adaptability as it is a test of technology.
It's fascinating how it all comes together.
It is. And on the tech side, I've also heard about plans for a lunar gateway, a space station orbiting the moon.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool. Tell me more about that.
Well, it's envisioned as a stepping stone to deep space. It'd be a platform for research, a staging area for lunar landings, and maybe even a jumping-off point for missions further out, like to Mars or beyond.
So the ISS is helping us reach for Mars, and the Lunar Gateway will help us go even further. It's like building a staircase to the stars.
I like that analogy. Each step takes us closer to answering those big questions about our place in the universe. Are we alone? How did it all begin? What else is out there?
The big questions. The ones that keep us looking up at the night sky and wondering.
Exactly. And it's amazing that we're living in a time when we're starting to get some answers.
It really is, and it all goes back to that spirit of exploration, that human drive to push beyond what we know and what we think is possible.
Couldn't have said it better myself. So on that note, we've reached the end of our deep dive into this recent NASA spacewalk.
We've covered a lot of ground, from the mission itself to the bigger picture of space exploration.
We have, and I hope our listeners are feeling inspired by the incredible things humans can achieve.
I know I am. Before we sign off, I want to leave you with one last thought. We've talked about the science, the tech, but what about the artistic potential of space exploration? What happens to art, music, literature when humans have a permanent presence on Mars or are traveling to the stars?
Wow, that's a great question. What kind of creative expression will emerge from those experiences?
It's mind-boggling to think about.
It is. Maybe the next great masterpiece will be inspired by a view from a Martian mountain or the sound of the solar wind as a spacecraft journeys to another star system.
The possibilities are endless.
There.
Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive. But the conversation doesn't have to end here. Keep looking up at the stars, keep asking those big questions, and join us again next time for another exciting exploration of the universe. Thanks for listening. So we've talked about the ISS and all the incredible things happening up there, but where do we go from here? What does the future of space exploration look like?
Well, one of the biggest goals that's been on the table for a long time is a crewed mission to Mars. It's been a dream for decades, and now it's starting to feel like a real possibility.
I remember watching those old sci-fi movies as a kid and thinking how cool it would be to see humans walking on Mars.
Yeah, it seemed so far-fetched back then.
Totally. But we've come such a long way. And you mentioned earlier that the ISS has been crucial in getting us closer to a Mars mission. How so?
Well, the ISS has basically been a testing ground for a lot of the technologies that will be essential for a Mars mission.
Makes sense. What kind of technologies are we talking
Well, for one thing, think about life support systems.
about?
Keeping astronauts alive and healthy on a journey to Mars and back is a huge challenge, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's not like you can just stop at a space gas station for a refill.
Exactly. And the ISS has allowed us to test and refine those life support systems in a real space environment.
Yeah.
You can't really simulate a trip to Mars here on Earth.
Right. It's the ultimate real-world test.
Exactly. And then there's the whole psychological aspect of a Mars mission. I mean, spending months or even years cooped up in a spacecraft far away from Earth, that's going to be incredibly tough on the crew.
Yeah, the mental and emotional challenges of such a long journey are huge.
They are. And the ISS has given us valuable insights into the psychological effects of long-duration spaceflight and ways to mitigate those risks.
So it's not just about building bigger and better rockets. It's about understanding the human element, too.
Exactly. A Mars mission will be as much a test of human resilience and adaptability as it is a test of technology.
Fascinating how it all ties together. And speaking of technology, I've also heard about plans for a lunar gateway, a space station that would orbit the moon.
That's right. The Lunar Gateway is basically being envisioned as a stepping stone to deep space. It would provide a platform for scientific research, a staging area for lunar landings, and potentially even a jumping-off point for missions further out, like to Mars or beyond.
So the ISS is helping us reach for Mars, and the lunar gateway will help us go even further. It's like we're building a staircase to the stars.
I love that analogy. And each step we take brings us closer to answering some of humanity's biggest questions. Are we alone in the universe? What are the origins of the cosmos? What else is out there waiting to be discovered?
Those are the questions that keep me up at night. It's exciting to know that we're living in a time when we're actually starting to get some answers.
It is. And it all comes back to that spirit of exploration, that innate human desire to push the boundaries of what we know and what we think is possible.
Well said. Well, thanks. We've reached the end of our deep dive into this recent NASA spacewalk. We've covered a lot of ground from the specifics of the mission to the broader implications for the future of space exploration.
It's been a fascinating journey, and I hope it's left you feeling inspired and maybe even a little bit awestruck by the incredible things humans are capable of when we work together.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought. We've talked a lot about the scientific and technological achievements of space exploration, but what about the artistic potential? What will it mean for art, music, literature when humans have a permanent presence on Mars or are traveling regularly to the stars? What kinds of creative expression will emerge from those experiences?
Wow, that's a great question. It really makes you think about the possibilities.
It does. Perhaps the next great masterpiece will be inspired by the view from a Martian mountaintop or the sound of the solar wind whistling past a spacecraft on its way to another star system.
Who knows? But one thing's for sure, the future of space exploration is full of infinite possibilities.
It is. And that's what makes it so exciting. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep looking up at the stars and keep those cosmic questions coming.